Hello, my name's Matt Jones. I'm one of the careers advisors here at York St John University, and these are my top tips for preparing for job interviews. Tip number one is all about doing your homework on the organisation. It's really important, especially as part of the interview process, that you've got a really good understanding of who the organisation are, what they do, and what their aims are day to day. So consider taking a look at their mission statement or their values on the About Us page of their website. Think about how they portray themselves on social media and who their competitors are. Have they been in the news recently? And if so, why? And finally, what are their aims and how does this role in particular fit in with this? So not only will this research allow you to develop your commercial awareness, but will also be really useful when answering questions such as what are your motivations for applying for this role and what do you know about us already? Tip number two is all about the job description and person specification. So these are two really key documents as part of the job interview process. The first, the job interview, as the name suggests, describes the job that you will be undertaking so you can get a really clear understanding of what will be expected of you day to day. But equally as important, the person specification is what I refer to as the answer sheet before the test, because basically it's a list of skills, criteria and competencies that the employer and the organisation have identified are key to this role. So when you're preparing for a job interview, if you take a look at the person specification and look at the skills and the competencies, you can get a really good idea of what is expected and what questions may be asked at the interview. Now, often as part of the person specification, it will give some detail of how you'll be assessed for these criteria. So if you can see an A for application or I for interview, you can bet your bottom dollar, if it's got an I next to it, that there may be an interview question around this skill or competency. Now, leading on from person specifications, it's really key that you can map out your skills and experience. So I'd recommend you sitting down, getting a piece of paper and thinking about the experience you have and what you've got to offer. Now, in the words of Ron Burgundy, the person specification is a kind of a big deal. So therefore, what we need to do is think about the experience that we have, think about the skills that are in the person specification, and think about how we can use our experiences to evidence these skills, because everything that we say we can do, we must be able to provide evidence for. Tip number four is more of an in the interview tip, which is using the STAR or CAR technique. So STAR stands for situation, task, action, result, and CAR stands for context, action, result. And basically these are models that you can use to stop you waffling in a job interview, that allows you to pinpoint exactly what you should be talking about and when, and helps you to stay on track when talking through your examples. So if in an interview you were asked, could you please tell us about a time when you faced difficulty when working with another team member, you could say, situation. When working as part of the marketing team at Andrew Signs, I was assigned a project with 3 other team members to produce a new marketing strategy. Task. So this is the thing that required the skill in the first place. One member of the team seemed particularly reluctant to get involved and voiced that he'd never produced a marketing strategy before and didn't even know where to start. Action. This should be the majority of your answer, bringing sort of like 60% of the answer itself and focus on your contribution to this task. I ensured that I took the time to work closely with the team member and gave him some insight into the process of producing a strategy and talked through his areas of responsibility. He was visibly more comfortable and confident in the task. And finally, how did you know you were successful? Well, as a result of this, we were able to work together more efficiently and we received excellent feedback from the marketing manager on both the strategy and what we'd achieved as a team. So again, whether you use STAR or CAR, it's really important to use the model within the interview to help you to talk through your examples that you've mapped out in the previous exercise. The next tip is to practice and reflect. So practice talking through your examples using the CAR and STAR technique, either in the mirror or with a friend. You can also book a mock interview with a careers advisor. Now that could be face to face, that could be over the telephone, or we can do it via Skype as well. But there's also the mock interview simulator on the YSJ Manage Your Future platform, and the link will be in one of the slides coming up. What I'd also recommend is you keep your notes of any interviews that you've done, both real interviews and mock interviews, and monitor how you did and reflect on the experience. So you can, if you want, use Gibbs' reflective cycle, which can be really useful on thinking about what you did, evaluating what was good and what was bad, thinking about the interview itself and what else you could have done. And then if it rose again, because you're going to be going on job interviews for the rest of your life, more than likely, how can you improve on this? And do this as you go to job interviews. And don't be afraid to ask for feedback and ensure you reflect on how you can action this feedback to develop further. These were just a few of my points on how to make a good impression at a job interview. So one of the most important, I mean, do take the time to read through these, but one of the most important is to always be yourself. It's the only person we know how to be. So always be yourself and be authentic and talk about the great experience and the skills that you have to offer. And if you're but unsure, get in touch with us. You can send us an email to careers@yorksj.ac.uk. We don't just offer mock interviews, but we offer one-to-one guidance appointments, CV and cover letter checks, application checks, psychometric tests free of charge, mock face-to-face and telephone interviews, and we do mock assessment centres throughout the year. These are some links that could be useful in terms of booking an appointment through LaunchPad Online or accessing the simulator through the Manage Your Future portal. And remember, you can access career support from us for life. That is our promise to you. These have been my top 5 tips for preparing for job interviews. Best of luck, and do let us know how you get on.